Welcome to my A to B presentation. I am Cathy. Let's do this. So, where was my A at the start of this project? Where was I when I was making this? I make a lot of motion picture films. That started from a love in second year when I did Done in 60 Seconds, which was our collaborative project at the end of the year. That was where we made 4 films on iPhones. That really started the love of film for me. And yeah, I wanted to do more of that in this. I wanted to collaborate and communicate. So I know it's kind of broad, but I love collaborating with people. I think it's really, really fun. I think, you can really make some really great designs because you're with someone, you're talking, you might be really tired that day or they might be really tired, but when you're working with someone, you can riff off someone. I think you get really great designs because, you've got that other person to bounce your ideas off. So I want to do that more. Um, I think I was playful. I want to be more playful. I think it's a bit boring if you're not enjoying your work. Not in the way that people should not be doing it, but you know, creating humor and stuff like that in your work, I think is really important. I'm socially driven. If you can't tell, I'm a bit chatty. um, Lateral thinking, I've put a question mark because sometimes I actually don't know. Sometimes I can get a bit stupid. But where do I want to be in my B? I want to develop my skills. So, obviously, I've said that I really enjoy making films, and a lot of my films I've done basically before now have been on iPhones because it's easy. I know how to use it, but I wanted to develop my skills not in just the editing but also the filming. I wanted to try filming on a camera for the first time. And yeah, I wanted to do some developing my skills, in Premiere Pro, in After Effects, so that was really important to me. I want to use more craft in my work. So I think it's really important to get away from your computer screen. But I think it's sort of like a tale as all the time that I came to third year and I was like, I haven't really used the facilities a lot. I really should be using screen printing. I really should be using letterpress while I have the capabilities to do that. So I really wanted to integrate that into some of my work because it's a shame not to, I guess. I wanted to create purpose driven design, not only ethical, because I always think that making ethical design is important for me, especially, but I also wanted to create design that I think really represented me and who I am, not just ethical, but, I want someone to look at that and be like, oh, Cathy made that. And not so much of how it looks, but how, what the concept is, how it communicates. Like, yeah, I wanted to be more me, I guess, in my work. I want to network and build connections. I think a lot of this came from creative communities as well, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, I wanted to talk to people. I'm kind of scared about leaving uni, so I wanted to talk to people, see what their experiences were, and yeah, just reach out to people. I also wanted to build a portfolio of work. I wanted to build a portfolio of work that I was proud of, that I could go to interviews after university and be like, hey, I made this. Um, yeah, and I wanted to push myself and briefs further. So, just take that step further. When you think it's done, can you progress it more? But yeah, let's do it. Let's get started. So, building my portfolio of work. No Place Like Home. This is my first project. This was a short film about my family's farm outside of Birmingham. And this really ties into, how can I introduce my aim to my A to B in my work? Well, this was really maybe like purpose driven design and also developing my skills quite a lot. These are some stills. This film was really, really inspired by slow TV, really small shots. Like, what does the sound of my nan's gate in the morning sound like when she opens it? Or, what does the sound of the birds? Because my bedroom is on the bottom floor right next to the fence, and there is always these 2 pigeons in the morning at 6 a.m. that just have a bloody conference there every morning. But, at the time it annoys you, and now I'm in Falmouth, I think, oh, I would love to hear those pigeons. So I really wanted to, integrate that family side into my work, which I think came from this project especially. And this was really me pushing the brief further, and my self-initiated brief anyway, because I think everybody does photography in a certain way. We're creatives. I think we have an eye for it, but I'd never done a photography project. I wouldn't say I was comfortable with that before now, but this is sort of a happy mistake. While I was testing out the camera that I was using for the film, I was so unsure of it. I was like, oh, I'm just going to take a couple of photos. And then when I was editing them, I was like, they're actually kind of good. So I made a photography book which is uses both my photos and my family's photos. I really want to push this further and print it in the print rooms because I didn't have time to do that, unfortunately, before the hand in. I had to print them on normal, but I'm really happy how it's came out. I just want to maybe push it a bit further, but saying this was an add-on from the additional project, I'm kind of proud for taking that step further, which was really fun. Morris and Co as well. This is my collaborative project with Abby. It's just a fun one. This was really fun because, but also kind of terrifying, and I do think I'm slightly scarred from it as well. It's been a wild roller coaster. Working with Abby has been amazing, but the brief itself, I'm not. I know we're graphic designers and we really should be doing branding all the time, but whether I don't do it a lot. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of find it boring. But I don't think it can be, and that's why I wanted to do this project. I wanted to push myself further in that field. So yeah, we made this whole set design for it, and they said that their out of home activation could be a billboard, and we were like, no, we're gonna take it a step further, which really tied into my A2B goals. I learned motion for it, which was really really fun. Well, I'll talk about it in a moment. We did these postcards which were for a Pinterest ad. That was one of the deliverables, and I think that was really really fun. But in total, it was just really fun to do this project with Abby. We communicated, which sounds so weird. We talked a lot, and we really riffed off each other. I think it was a really fun project. I'm really proud of it. This is some of the stills from the film, and the yours at the end. I tried After Effects for the first time. I did that on a path. After talking to Abby Miles for a 1-to-1, it took me like 2 days to do. But it was really, really fun. Like, I'm really proud of it. It's a bit stilted, but there's always room for improvement. At least I've opened the app now. I didn't even have it downloaded, After Effects, so there is always progression. Advocation for more rage. Feel a bit silly now because I haven't put it in, but in the top left is my cover for this, which I see in my K printed in the screen printing labs, which I have so much respect for people who screen print on a daily basis for their projects, because I actually think it gave me a mental breakdown. I actually think it did. It was so fun, but it's craft, especially in this format, is so unpredictable and you can make so many mistakes, and that was such the fun part as well, but also the terrifying part, because I think when you're doing things digitally, which I think I have inherently for a while, you have a bit more control over screen printing. The paint's going to do what the paint's going to do, and you can be a millimeter off and then all hell can break loose when you're screen printing over things as well. But that was really really fun. It was really really fun to integrate that more in my work. Creation through play as well. This is my project I did with Kat. So this has started in Journeys. This is a highly speculative project, highly collaborative. Every single week we ran these workshops where people would come along. Mostly ended up being mostly third years, I'm not gonna lie. But we would run these workshops with tools and equipment and different materials each week, and people would come along. Like, this was our salt dough workshop, and these were some of the examples from it. And when we were making our publication, we were making it ourselves, and we felt like halfway through it was a bit ungenuine. Like, it didn't really tie or in keep with the project. So we ran another workshop so that people could make their own spreads. So these are some of the examples, and I'm not gonna lie, this project was hard at times. I felt like it went on for ages, and then I felt like it went so quick, and then I felt like everything was in the air, and then everything was not good enough. It was such a mind fuck, this project. Sorry for my language, but it was because it was hard. And I think that's where the best work comes from. I'm looking back on it now, and I'm so proud of this project. I'm so proud of working with Kat, and we did it because it was hard at times, but that was really important, to push past that. And I'm really proud of this. I think it's a really strong project. I'm really proud of it. How did I develop my skills? So I did an ACP class, which is night classes. I would recommend them to anybody, and I'm not gonna lie. They do everything from Illustrator to Premiere Pro. I did a Premiere Pro one. Matt was my tutor, and I did this especially because I could do the classes alongside filming my film. And obviously I'd edited films in Premiere Pro before, but this is my first film I was doing on my own. So I thought, if I'm going to do it anytime, I might as well do it now. Whatever I learn, I can feed into my work, which ended up happening so often. And Matt, who was my tutor, who I kind of did a little bit dirty with this, with the look away photo, but he was so helpful. I could, message him at any point on Teams, and he would be so helpful. And he helps quite a lot with my work as well. And this one, a very pixelated photo from one of the things I did in there. But using more craft in my work as well. I wanted to integrate using the facilities more. I use screen printing a lot, not only in my disc, but I also made with Kat a poster for our playroom, which was the room that we did the workshops every week in for our project. I forgot the name of the project then for a moment. We did letterpress as well, which was really, really fun. I hadn't done that since first year, and I literally felt like it was a great afternoon, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. As talked about before as well, me and Abby painted this massive tapestry by hand. Would I do it again? No. Do I regret it? No. But that was wild. I can't believe we did that. But it was fun. Like, it was fun to get away from a computer and connect more with what you're making. And, I had such a sense of pride when it was done. So yeah, I think that was really important. And purpose-driven design, we've already obviously talked about. No place like home, really integrating my family's dynamic more into it, which is really good. You can probably see all the tabs I have open. No judgment, because it is hand in day. I wanted to network and build up my connection, sorry. So I did 4 creative communities, one with Agatha, one with Ellie, one with Les, and one with Fred. And they were really, really good. Like, I asked so many questions. I asked, what was it like getting your first job? What was it like leaving university? Especially with some of these people being Falmouth alum, like Fred. It was really important to see, like, so what was it like for you? Like, what did, how did it work for you? And that was really important. And that led me on to going to this Kendall Film Festival with Daisy, which was kind of scary, but also really, really fun. And now me and Fred are Instagram besties. Networking social media, I made an Instagram. I made a LinkedIn, which was wild, was also kind of scary. But yeah, so what's next? Bristol, maybe. Travel, maybe. But really, I have main things is, I want to continue to experiment. I want to become a runner. I haven't put a studio hit list on this because I'm not particularly sure I want to go into graphics, and I'm not sure if I want to go into filming, and I feel like I'm so uncertain. But I've started to look into internships for running, for TV and stuff like that, because I think that might be the way I want to go down. So that's probably something I want to continue further, and maybe intern in the summer. And yeah, basically just be creative, I think. But yeah, I've already run over, but I filmed this like 5 times and I feel like I can't get any lower, so sorry, Steve. But yeah, thank you. Cool.